we often get asked, how do you compete with the national brands? Well, let us show you. We've got the head-to-head results now, and we have those all across Cornelius country. And those results are also now going to be included on our performance page for customers to see.
Hi, and welcome back to the Cornelius Seed Podcast. I'm your host, Juan, and today we've got an excellent episode for you. So, every quarter, we've got a different campaign where we're calling it Pause for Profit. And that's where we want you to just slow down, think about things, and focus on things that maximize your profit. Currently, right now, we're on Pause, Plan, and Place. And with all of that, I am joined by Janie Cornelius, who's one of the co-owners and who is a sales support lead here at Cornelius Seed. She's going to tell us about a new update to our website. And so let's get at it. Welcome, Janie. How are you?
I'm good. Thanks, Juan.
I'm going to jump into it here. Jane, so you've been on here before. I think it's been about a year and a half or so, and we've gained a ton of new listeners since then. And so for those folks that are unfamiliar with us or unfamiliar with you since they've started listening, let's go in and tell them about, where'd you come from and how'd you get here?
That sounds good. I grew up in Northwest Iowa in a town called Storm Lake. On our family farm, we have cow, calf, and then corn and soybeans. Then graduated high school, went to Iowa State, and I majored in ag studies with a minor in agronomy. Wasn't quite sure what exactly I wanted to do. Just knew that somehow, some way, I wanted to be involved in agriculture. And through those 4 years at Iowa State, I was opened up to a lot of experiences just with internships, just knowing other people going through the major and some other majors. But yeah, I ended up here at Cornelius Seed. I'm married to James Cornelius. He's the production manager. Been here for 12 years. My role has evolved a little bit. Kind of started out as a technology lead, and then have moved into a sales support lead. So I know you have me on the podcast now, but I kind of like the behind the scenes. So I support the sales staff and I help them with all the different trainings that we do, the different events that we have, all the supporting materials that they need for out in the field, and the update to the performance plots on our website as well.
That's totally true. And, it's as I was thinking of an intro for this, um, of how to bring you on, one of the things that first came to mind for me was Chris Cornelius's presentation she's given at several events she's invited on and invited to. And I believe the title of that is called The Glue, or Be the Glue for an Organization. And you come to mind when I think of that, because you definitely are glue, like you said, behind the scenes, but definitely in there to make sure things work for our growers and the team as well. So
And actually, just a real quick side note, with that being the glue, as you say, that's become a really fun part because we've built our team over the years, with you coming on board as our innovation lead, Carrie Ann is our marketing gal. It's been a lot of fun seeing the business grow, and then all the support that we've brought on staff to support our customers and our sales team as well.
well, that's awesome. Couldn't have said it better myself, that's for sure. Well, let's get at it. So, the goal for this podcast was, catching the time thing, right? Where folks are working on their plan. What are they going to place and how they're going to select their seed. Naturally, folks have their salesperson that they should rely on and should be able to rely on for those hard things, or really for anything, at least as it comes to our company. But a big piece of that is a lot of folks like to do their own homework first. And part of doing your own homework when it comes to seed placement is looking at plots. We're in this industry where there's a lot of different flavors to get your information. And I distinctly remember you saying, we need to do it different. We want to do it better. And so I guess if you can just jump in, why did you want to invest in updating the performance page?
Yeah. So performance data has always been really important to us here at Cornelius Seed, not only just for the product selection team and all the research and the studying that they do, whether it's looking at a book, looking at yield data, or going out to the field and seeing the plants and being in action, boots on the ground, seeing it. And performance data is only as good as what information is going into it. So yield is yield, but what was going on in that plot? What was the management decisions? What was the fertility? Was it sprayed? Just all the different pieces of it, the soil texture. What was the weather that year? So we really wanted a way to take the performance data that we were capturing every year, whether it was with our own our profit plot trials, like with our seed reps and customers, or it was through all the independent testing that we do. And we wanted to make that readily available, one stop shop for our sales team and our customers and prospects. We wanted them to be able to go to our website, find the information they want, whether they want to look at soil texture or they want to look specifically at one product, and be able to have all those plot results show up in one spot for them where they can just click through based on whatever filter or whatever interests them. Maybe it's just simply looking at a location relative to where they live. But we wanted it to be much more robust and just a few clicks away for them.
That's awesome, and I appreciate you going into it that way because one of the things I wanted to ask was, you know, what challenges were folks facing, and you really just kind of hit it, which is there is no one-stop shop, as most folks have their internal plots. We call them our profit plots, and then you'll have university ones, you'll have other third parties, and you go into a lot of different websites, right? And some folks just do this on their phone, might not even just have the time to do all this research. I think that is definitely one of the huge things is how can I see everything from every place in one place? And then but if I want to jump in and dive into first trials, for example, I can. Um, well, and if you can, if you will, then at a high level, how does someone get to our plots right now that might not be familiar with navigating our website?
Yeah, so to get to the new performance page, you just go to corneliusseed.com, and across the top, you can click on performance, and that'll take you directly to the site that's been updated with all the results.
Okay, no, that's awesome. That sounds pretty straightforward. Corneliusseed.com, and then tap on performance. Uh, You mentioned several different types of testing that we do. Can you just kind of remind us or do a good recap of what do you mean by that or what are these sources?
Yeah, so we've always had our Cornelius profit plots. So that's where the seed reps and customers, they're planting a, I don't know, 8 entry plot all the way up to a 32 entry plot with hybrids and varieties. So that's one version, the Cornelius profit plots. And then we also do a bunch of independent testing with third parties. So we enter into the first trial results. We also are testing, and we also do some university trials as well. And then new this year, we have decided to bring in some independent testing with a research company that we know, and they are actually doing a bunch of head-to-head comparisons for us. Because we often get asked, how do you compete with the national brands? Well, let us show you. We've got the head-to-head results now, and we have those all across Cornelius country, and those results are also now going to be included on our performance page for customers to see.
What do you call those? What do you call those results?
Those are the Cornelius profit trials.
Okay, so you've got the Cornelius profit plots and then you've got the Cornelius profit trials.
Yes.
And profit trials are done by a third party person, which is also giving you a chance to look at how do we stack up against some of the national brands.
Yeah. Yep. Correct.
Awesome. Well, no, thank you, Janie. I appreciate you clarifying that. I think just for me, just what I'm hearing say, literally, you said this earlier, it was just a one stop shop, right? So you can get earned internal data, and then you can go through and then get the university stuff or the first trials, or the what we call like the Cornelius profit trials. For the sake of not confusing folks, if can you show us a quick demo or share your screen and just kind of walk us through just how we get to it and just really just how to navigate it.
Yeah, I'd be happy to share how it functions now. So when you go to corneliusseed.com and you click on performance, it'll automatically pull up our map view. So what that means for any of you that can't see the screen, maybe you're just listening to the podcast. We now have lots of filters that you guys can select from. So the map view shows up. There's a pen for where every single plot result is located. So you can simply just start there, zoom in on the map, see where you're at, see what plots you have around you. It's color coded, so it'll show you whether it's a Cornelius profit plot, independent third party like First Trial, or it'll also show you if it is one of the Cornelius profit trials with our independent testing that we're doing, our replicated trials. So from there, I'll start back at the top. If you look at across the top bar there, it'll show you all the different filter options. So it's very simple, starting with the year. You can go down and select the state all the way down to the county. And then another one that I think is also really important is, let's say there's a couple hybrids that you're really interested in. You can go ahead and select the crop. So you can do corn or soybeans. Let's do corn in this case. And then once you select a crop, it'll give you a lot of filter options. So you can go to the source, so whether which testing source it came from, or you can also get down specifically to that hybrid. There's a searching bar. So when you select which hybrid you want to type in there, you can start typing in the hybrid number that you're interested in. It filters down for you. You can select it, and if you just click away from the hybrid that you've selected, now it shows right here at the top 23 performance plot results are found for the specific hybrid C7427 Triceptor rib. And you can see as you look at the map here, um, there's plot results from third parties and Cornelius profit plots. So let's click on one, for example. So that left hand bar scrolling, so back on the text box, again, that pops up for Heath Gieselman here, you can click view report, and that'll take you to the plot results for that specific plot. So this one, if you look at the source here across the top, it's a Cornelius profit plot. If it were a third party plot result, it would tell you there in the source as well. So from here, you can see all the plot information from those results. So you can see what the dates were for planting and harvest, the tillage, the drainage, was it sprayed with fungicide, which ended up being a very important piece this year, what the soil texture is, how that moisture was, whatever notes the DSM or the seed rep want to put in there for that specific plot as well. So we try to capture absolutely all that information. So you looking at the results kind of have a general idea of maybe what was going on in that plot rather than just simply looking at results. So if you scroll down again, you can see all the entries there, and you have the ability to print this plot out as well. So back to the performance side of things, let's pull up another one. So let's look at a first trial result. Here on the left-hand side, you'll see that little map bubble number 3. It's gray. So that represents a first trial. So we can either click that result on the map, find that number 3 sticking up over there, let's say in Harlan, Iowa, or we can hit view report here. And now you'll notice this one's a little bit different. So this one pulls up the actual first trial yield results in this case. So this gives you excellent information as far as kind of history of what went on in that plot this year. They always have really great test comments in there. Maybe there's a specific weather event that came through, but it gives you a general idea of what you're looking at and maybe kind of reasons into why the results were the way that they were. But you'll see this hybrid again, the C7427 Tricepta, placed first at the Iowa West Central Harlan full season results. And from here, again, you can just look at all the other plot results for first trials. We're only in certain ones with certain hybrids, which is also what kind of made it complicated in years past. Is when you went to first trials, you were maybe overwhelmed with all the results that showed up. Now you can search specifically for our hybrids or varieties that were entered into the first trials, for example, and pull up those results only and kind of get rid of the extra noise. So we thought maybe that would be much more helpful for customers and prospects as they're looking at plot results.
That's absolutely brilliant because one of the things that even just when I'm going through to find data, I wonder, did were we entered into this trial or what did we have in there? And sometimes you hear that question and by you making sure we had a map on our website, you can, growers think locally, right? So they can just drill down to the area and easily see did they enter their first trials in this footprint and still access the first trial data, which is pretty cool.
Yeah, yep. And one thing I also want to mention, so we've looked at the map view, but we also have a table view option. So if you'd rather see things kind of listed out row by row as far as the individual plots, you can look at the table, or yeah, you can look at the table view as well.
That makes sense. So there's a you hit a lot there and I want to jump into like how folks can use use this to make seed decisions. But before that, though, is there a reason why we're in only in certain trials? Kind of interested why we go with the ones we did.
Yeah, so our product selection team, they choose the trials that we enter our hybrids and varieties into, and we go with the ones that have been trusted over the years. Like first trials, they're constantly improving and adding to what's available to farmers to view on their website, as far as just simply information about their testing sites, easily searchable for product side of things. It's just a really we found with trusted sources over the years. Same with some of the universities that we use. And then sometimes specifically we're selecting where to enter plot data into, or where to enter entries into, because of what other brands are also testing with those sites. As independents, we're being asked, how do we compare against the national brands? And by entering into those trials where we're able to see those head to heads, we're able to prove that we can compete right there with them, if not beat them, down to kind of that local level, that perfectly placed hybrid and variety that we can offer from our own independent brand, with the hybrids and varieties that we offer within just our unique footprint for Cornelius seed. Conventionals, those have also become much more popular. So we have entered into certain testing because of we're able to enter in our conventionals and see kind of how we compare against some other brands' conventionals. It really just kind of goes back to a reliable source, who else is being tested in in those testing sites, and we make that data available to our growers from there.
That is awesome, and thank you, because at the end of the day, is the team is hyper focused on making sure that you know we know our acres, right, and it's in our footprint, and that's ultimately what's getting hit there. One of the things that you shared there as you had the map up, which was pretty cool, was that if you drill down to one hybrid on the left hand side, you can see how that hybrid performed at those locations. And if you were to click on an icon on the map, you would see what that plot average was. So I know last year, whenever I was helping someone from our team see how C6900 performed. I was jumping into the First Trials website, then I went to go see if it was university, then I went back to ours. And, that same task this year, I can do all that in one screen, which is valuable. Everybody knows time is valuable. So, so speaking of time being valuable, you know, growers, farmers right now are in a spot where weather's cooperating, although it's been kind of sloppy outside with now rain. There's a lot of chores, and a lot of work that can get done. And so when you're limited with time, how can growers use what you've shared with us for their seed decisions? I mean, can't they just, hey, that's what I have the salesman for. Can I just tell me what I need, right? I mean,
Yep. Chances are that hybrid or variety that topped all the plots this year, chances are you're going to run into a completely different growing season next year. And that one might not be the one that tops all the plots. So obviously, if we can, we will sell you the hybrid and variety that is going to win next year's plots. However, so the thing you got to keep in mind is, every year is different. This year, it started out great. July was one of the wettest uh, Julys that we've had in like the 130 plus years of capturing weather data. And then also it was really warm at nighttime. The corn never had a chance to kind of breathe and relax. So you got to keep all that in mind as well, as you're looking through these results, because as results were coming in, I was seeing record yields in areas of Illinois and almost record lows in some other areas as well. Disease that played a huge part this year. That's been a topic at all of our post harvest meetings. We're going to talk about again at our grower summit in February. Fungicides made anywhere from like a 40 to 80 bushel swing in your yield, just because of the disease pressure that was there and the other things going on this season. So, you got to keep all that in mind. That's what our sales team is for. Our DSMs, our seed reps, they meet with you. You can look at the results, have kind of your favorite hybrids and varieties you're thinking about. But they can meet with you and they can talk to you specifically about placing those hybrids, and maybe give a reason of why that hybrid performed the way it did this year and why we think maybe it performed less than what we were thinking it would this year. just by looking back at all the things that happened in that growing season, and also looking forward to the fields and the specific things going on in your operation on each individual field, and figuring out the best placement for those hybrids and varieties. And especially with the hybrid side of things. So with our corn, we do the customized bulk box, and it would give that DSM and the seed rep the ability to customize your planting plan, by kind of looking at how those hybrids perform, knowing what's to come with your field, and it just taking our best guess with what maybe the season's going to look like as far as weather, and get that customized plan for you with the exact amount of units that you need in that box, to be able to plant that one specific field, and continue on making that plan. Because as you mentioned, it's the pause plan in place period right now where we're working really closely with all of our customers and prospects, and getting that detailed plan ready to go for spring, which will be here before we know it, thankfully.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, when you think about that, you would you had some info that North Central Iowa had the fourth wettest season in 133 years, right? And that kind of takes me back to something that Craig, our lead agronomist, often tells at his presentations, right? Is don't focus on picking last year's plot winner, but focus on picking this year's. And that's absolutely true. Like you said, it's natural human behavior to like, oh, that one won. I want that. But we want to make sure we give you the tools to really place the hybrid properly. A lot of folks know that, right? When it comes down to placing the seed in the right bed and precision planting and all that too, that also applies to the selection piece. And I love that while we promote that and we say that, we live it. You've invested on really redefining the website to allow growers to do this. And I firmly believe that there is not one out there in the industry that can, save growers time and to help them, go through the data and do it themselves. So, um we talked about a lot, and you went through and you showed us how we can navigate the plot website. But if someone for whatever reason tuned out in the middle or got a call right in the middle and still listening, what should the grower do first if they get on the performance page?
I think if it's me getting on the performance page, I'm a visual person. To me, the map view is huge. I know, we like to just look at local data. So when it first pops up, you're looking at all of Cornelius country. Scroll in, see what plots exist in your area. Maybe you're looking within 30, 60 miles. But then I think the next thing to look at is what soil texture are those plots on. Get in there and click around, view those reports, um, see what kind of information you can gather from those plot results, or go right up to the filter. And once you select that you want to just look at corn or you want to just look at soybeans, use those filter options and narrow it down to that soil texture. Maybe you want to look across the whole state, but you want one specific soil texture to show up. Narrow it down that way. It doesn't necessarily just have to be locally. It can just be simply looking at soil texture and similar growing environments to maybe what your area has, and that might be a few counties away.
Absolutely. No, that is definitely true, and I appreciate you covering it that way. There's a lot there. There's a tool out there to help make it, a little more efficient for folks, and I know what I love about us is that, if you're not finding something, give us a call, right? And see if there's even more internal data or things like that. We're covering quite a bit, and I think one of the things that I also want to make sure we touch on. I'm a visual person too. I love looking at the map. I know when we've helped folks navigate our new plot site, some folks prefer the table view. But anyways, if you're looking at the map, one cool call out is that you'll notice letters and numbers, and to denote the pin drops. If you see a letter, that means that there's multiple plots that were within that footprint, right? And there was just so many that we couldn't stack a ton of little buttons there, and so we did a number. And so one of the things where I like that and where it's easy to stand out is on those internal um, uh, profit plots. We're calling it Cornelius profit plots that are done by the third party. Is we did them in test groups too to make sure that we were testing the same maturity ranges together or certain ranges. So if you go to Algona, for example, you will see Algona listed 3 or 4 times or 5 times, however that is. But that just goes to show you, just how methodical the product selection team is in testing products. And on top of that, another thing that I wanted to throw in out there was, um, I'm on X, Twitter a lot, social media, so it's kind of fun to see folks, poke fun at outfits saying, "Oh, it's your own plot. You got your foot on that way wagon," or something like that, right? It's difficult to trust those things sometimes, if you take things with a grain of salt. But one of the things I love is that from our page, you can truly see the consistency of the product, right? What you see one of our products performed in our profit plot, you can see similar in the third party first trials, right? And you're able to see that all on one page, which is super cool. So, but yeah, no, that's all I have there. Do you think there's anything that you want to make sure we hit on as it relates to these plots?
I think that probably covers it all, but back to your point, yeah, I mean, if you're on the website struggling to get things to work for you, give us a call. We're happy to help you, happy to walk through. Maybe you're not a computer person, you just simply want yield results. We're happy to print them out and mail them to you. We're there to help you navigate all of it, whether it's over the phone, here's where you click, or just simply print it and mail it to you.
I love that. That is absolutely true, and like Craig says, if there's a great, ribeye or a tenderloin nearby, I'm happy to come over and walk you through as well. Um, thank you for that, Janie. One last curveball that I definitely didn't throw your way is, um, done this before to many of the folks that have come on here, but if you were to talk to a young Janie that is going through getting out of college, she's going into her first year at ISU, or maybe she's graduating college and stepping into her career, what is a piece of advice you would tell her?
That's a tough one. There's a lot of advice I would give younger Jeannie over the years, but probably a key one would be don't be afraid to try new things. You're be confident in yourself and that you know things as well. Bring that to the table, whatever table you're at, um, and just know that it's okay to step out of your comfort zone and really challenge yourself with. I don't know if it's a board that you're going to serve on or getting out and meeting different people within the industry, out of the industry. Um, just take it as an opportunity to make connections, meet people, and just have confidence in yourself to grow and learn new things every day.
I love that. The wisdom is there. We recently had Ralph Lentz, which is was president of Iowa Corn Promotion Board, or maybe is chair. I think he's chair now.
Was,
And
yep.
I threw a similar question to him, and his was honestly kind of the same thing, which was get out of your comfort zone, network. And I love that. Yeah, just be confident in yourself, because that's totally true. We're sometimes folks are hard on ourselves, but well. Um, Reeling it back in, thank you so much for joining us. Like Janie said, folks, if you have any questions about it or you want to see something different, please don't hesitate to reach out to your seed rep or your DSM. Call the office. We'd love to help you out however we can. So
Yep,
until the next
absolutely.
one.
Okay, thanks, Juan.